You're listening to XVGM Radio. welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Mike.
And I'm Justin.
And this is episode 59, VGM in Motion.
Very much music to move to, music that makes you move, music that happens when you're moving.
Yes.
All about the movement.
Pretty much. Yeah. So pretty much anything involving movement. We didn't want to do just a racing games episode.
Because we did that. Well, we did a kart racing episode.
Yes, yeah. We kind of were like, what's something simple and easy that we do every day? And that's motion.
Yeah.
You know,
Driving to work,
walking around at work, doing things at work.
going for a walk to stay healthy.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. It'll be a mix of sports, fighting games, racing games, just really anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about this lineup. We got a lot of really awesome tracks. For starters, we had introduced the episode with the Barry Leach classic Top Gear, which came out on the Super NES in 1992. The track was track 1. It's also called Las Vegas or USA, and it's by Barry Leach, and also Hiroyuki Masuno is credited. But I believe this is specifically a Barry Leach jam.
Right. Hiroyuki did some other tracks on the game, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't have much experience with Top Gear. What about you?
Surprisingly, I mean, maybe not surprisingly, I do like some racing games, and I really do enjoy this show that came out of, BBC forever ago called Top Gear.
Oh, it's based on the game, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same anymore.
Right, I think Barry Leach hosts it, right?
Yeah, Barry Leach along with Jeremy Clarkson, James May, No, and I always thought that they were somehow related because, it's a show about cars and they sometimes race the cars, and this is a racing game. But no, is this an F1 racing game, I think?
No, this is just like cars, like Corvettes or Ferraris or whatever. They're just like fast cars,
I mean, that's the Top Gear show's about too. Maybe
it is.
Maybe there is some connection.
Maybe Barry Leach did the soundtrack to the Top Gear show. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
But oh man, but no, I've not played this one. I remember seeing it a lot when I was a kid and going and renting games down at my local video store. I remember seeing Top Gear, and I was never really into racing games when I was younger.
Yeah, me neither.
I think I enjoyed. What is it? RC Pro-Am on the NES.
Okay.
Which I have that, and I have Rad Racers. Well, I didn't get into Rad Racers until way later.
Right.
But it just racing games just didn't do anything for me until they became like kart racers, and then there was like neat stuff that you could do.
Exactly. I loved kart racers, but I would say my earliest exposure to racing games would probably be Super Off-Road. Yeah, okay. I used to play that in the arcade there was this restaurant called Ground Round, and so we would play that while we were waiting, because it was right in the lobby when you walked into the restaurant. Yeah. So while they were getting your popcorn ready, they would have you wait in the lobby. So of course, got to toss down some quarters to play some Super Off-Road. Yeah, it was really fun. But I know a lot of people that love these games, these racing games, and to me it's kind of like just going in a loop over and over and over again with no actual point. But if you're a fan of cars or if you're a fan of racing in general, it's more to you than just that. Right. So it makes sense why there's such a love for these games.
Yeah. I mean, if you're playing like a NASCAR game or like an Indy 500 game or something like that, then oftentimes it is just like that loop. Yeah. But I feel like Top Gear, particularly this game and a lot of the other games that are like it, and again, to talk about the BBC show, they did this a lot too, where they found tracks, and I mean, most tracks aren't just circles. There's a chicane, there's all these different things that you have to, like, not really obstacles, but I guess you could consider them obstacles in a car racing game that you have to get through, and that was cool. Like, when I've gone back to see games like this, it is really neat, but it's also really frustrating because I generally play racing games by just, the pedal is down. Yeah. And you don't come off of it unless you have to because you came off the road.
Like most arcade racers, right?
Yeah. And that's not how you, like, these are slightly more realistic in a sense. Like, I feel like Top Gear gave way to games like Forza and stuff like that, where it's hyper realistic. Like, you are in the Nissan GT, whatever, and, you have to be very careful with your throttle, and, like, you have to try to race realistically. Yeah. And those are frustrating to me.
We have some clarifications to make from previous episodes, but before we do that, just real quick, Barry Leach The composer started off with Weird Dreams in 1988. That was their first uncredited soundtrack. First credited soundtrack was Super Dragon Slayer in 1988. They've done so much work. I mean, just to highlight a few, Addams Family Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt in 92. Did a game called Spider, which we played a couple episodes back. 1996, I think that was a free picks for 50. Maybe, if I recall. I think that sounds about right. And we'll go with San Francisco Rush 2049 is back in 2000. Latest game that they worked on was Dungeonette in 2018.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but more famously, the composer of Horizon Chase Turbo in 2018, which is the kind of like resurgence of the Top Gear series, kind of like a spirited successor.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So, and then Hiroyuki Masuno started off doing audio for a game called Doughboy in 1985, and then did a lot of uncredited stuff with games like Deja Vu, Uninvited, Shadowgate, like a lot of NES mystery type games. They continued working with the publisher and developer Kemco with games like Top Gear, Phalanx, etc. That sort of stuff, Draken. And the latest game that they're credited for is they're credited for a lot of like resurgence type stuff like Shadowgate, the original NES music. They put out a newer version of Shadowgate in 2014, so like they're credited for the original NES music on that. Right. But let's go with Dragon View in 1994. That looks like their last official thing. They've been working in games since then, doing like programming, production, business, like that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Yeah. We have two clarifications, one from episode 55 and one from episode 56. So I figure we'll go with 55 first.
Sure. From episode 55, DR Page, who actually worked on Mega Man Eternal, brought this up, as well as on YouTube, user Pixelboy127. Both said this. So DR Page said to us, "Thanks for bringing up Eternal. I do need to point out that Scorchman's theme was not done by Kevin. It was done by Sebem K-Fan, also known as Golden Shades. Yeah, the OST was a very big endeavor. Many of the songs were made quite closely with various composers and myself, being DR Page, while others, as Phil points out, were used with permission, like Kevin's tunes. Do check out Eternal 2. It's very much in development right now. I have updates on my channel. Jasper Valentine has quite an ambitious OST for the game. Some of the stage themes are up on his channel as well. It's quite something."
Very cool. Yeah, so just to kind of give a little bit of background, because you're probably like, wait, what happened? The episode was Mega Man fan game music, and we did the episode with Megaphil X, who is the creator as well as a composer on
Mega Man Unlimited.
Mega Man Unlimited, right. So one of the tracks that we picked, we credited Kevin Fetsomfu, and it wasn't him. It was, they're saying that it was this Sebam K-Fan. To clarify, we did put Sebam K-Fan in the credits. We just didn't put him in as Golden Shades, and we also said that Kevin was the primary composer, not Golden Shades.
Yep.
So that's that one. So for our homework episode, which was episode 56, Chris Murray, one of our good friends and patrons of the show, mentioned that it's not Lacrimosa of Dana, as I was saying. It's Lacrimosa of Donna.
Right.
So thank you to Chris for that clarification.
Yep. Thank you for ruining my there is no Dana, only Zool joke.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He did ruin that joke.
It's all right.
Fail.
It's still made and recorded for the annals of history.
Yeah.
To know that I pronounced Donna wrong.
It's true. So what do you say we grab our neon boards, our skateboards, our future boards, and we listen to some Turtles in Time. This came out on the arcade in 1991 as well as the Super NES in 1992. And again, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. This track is Neon Night Riders, or as they say in the game, Neon Night Riders. The arrangers on this one were Kazuhiko Uehara, Harumi Ueko, and the original composition by Mutsuhiko Izumi. All right, welcome back. That was Turtle-rific. That was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, the Super NES version of that game and that song, which came out in 1992, with the arcade version coming out the year prior, in 91. That song was Neon Night Riders, and the arrangers were Kazuhiko Uehara and Harumi Ueko, and the track was composed by Mutsuhiko Izumi.
Nice.
Such a classic track.
Love this bass line so much. Like, it reminds me of some of the stuff that you get in some of the, like, Gradius 3.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool bass lines in that game, and the bass is very thick, and I love it.
Funky.
Yeah.
I greatly prefer this version over the arcade, and I don't know if it's mostly nostalgia. I think it has more to do with those synth hits. I love the it's just, I don't know, they're so pronounced. They're so very well pronounced in this version.
Yeah.
So I just love this track. It just really brings back some fond memories of playing through this level. It's such an upbeat track.
Yeah.
And just really bouncy and fun, and it really kind of livens up the mood, especially since the previous, like, maybe 2 or 3 levels, they're fun, but they're kind of a drag because they kind of drag out, in my opinion. That's probably just me, but...
What are those ones?
The pirate ship.
Oh.
And the prehistoric Turtlesaurus.
Yeah, the prehistoric Turtlesaurus I don't mind as much. I feel like the pirate ship always bugged me more.
Oh, see, I'm the reverse.
Really?
Yeah, I hated the... After you leave the Technodrome and you go back to the past, that whole, like, the fight with Slash, that whole cave area, I just... it just drags for me personally.
That's fair. Shell shocked.
Yeah, I love all the sound effects. Just really well done on the Super NES. Super NES always, well, for the most part, did a phenomenal job with PCM samples and sound effects.
Oh yeah.
With speech recognition and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think the Genesis excels far more at the musical end of things than, like, the speech reproduction end of things.
Yeah, agreed. You just gave the Genesis a compliment. How does it make you feel?
I'm gonna quit the show and go take a shower. In fire. No.
In fire?
A shower in fire, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've grown fond of the Genesis since my early days of bashing it here on the show.
Yes.
So there is a lot that has been done really well, and especially in certain people's hands. Chef's kiss.
Yes, exactly. So just to clarify regarding the stage and the whole motion of what you're doing in this, you leave I think it's the pirate ship, and then you go to this level, and this level takes place entirely in space, where you are going through this, like, highway, I guess you could say, this neon highway. You're riding a little, like, surfboard type thing, and you're just attacking foot soldiers and all the enemies, the flying enemies in the yeah, so it's really a super fun level. So when I was thinking of VGM in motion, the very first thing I thought of was this, because it's one of my most fondest motion related, like, movement things. Like, when I think of motion in video games, I think of moving on these little platforms that you've got to, like, move around in.
Yeah. That's fair.
It's cool. So the composers, first off, the arranger Kazuhiko Uehara started off with Vampire Killer in 1986 doing sound effects, aka Castlevania. Nemesis 2 in 1987. Skipping ahead, they did one of your most treasured favorite games, Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Busters in 1992.
Nice.
Just pretty much just stayed with Konami up until 2003, where it looks like they no longer work for Konami, as far as I can tell. Or they stopped doing music, and it looks like they jumped on to do, like, executive production.
Oh.
As far as that goes. But yeah, their final game was, they did a bunch of sports games, mostly with ESPN's types titles.
Yeah.
International Superstar Soccer 3 in 2003. Harumi Ueko started off with Gyrus, or Gyrus, I never know how to pronounce that, in 1988.
Maybe it's Hyrus?
Hyrus. Then followed it up with Top Gun: The Second Mission in 1989. They worked on a bunch of stuff like TMNT games, Legend of Mystical Ninja, and Ganbare Goemon Gaiden Kieta Ogun Kiseru in 1990. And also did sound design on Dracula X, and worked on some Parodius games, International Superstar Soccer. Their final game that they're credited for is Beatmania 2DX 15 DJ Troopers in 2008. I wonder if that has anything in relation to Starship Troopers.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
And possibly even Super Troopers.
Yeah, like they defeat the bugs with like a DJ like record scratch, like dead bugs.
Nice.
Final composer was the actual composer on this, Mutsuhiko Izumi, who's credited for Sinatra in 1988. Worked on games like Gradius 3, never heard of it. Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake in 1990. Metamorphic Force, which has a tremendous soundtrack in 1993. They worked on some other stuff, but their final game was Dance Dance Revolution X2 in 2009. They're credited for the track Tierra Buena.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. And of course, that now explains why it sounded like Gradius bass.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Very cool.
What do you got coming up?
Well, so we're going to move from surfing the space waves to running around in tall buildings. This is Mirror's Edge, which came out in the PS3 and the Xbox 360 back in 2008. The track is Shine, also known as Mirror's Edge main theme, and is composed by Magnus Birgersson. Welcome back. That was Shine, also known as the Mirror's Edge main theme from Mirror's Edge. Came out in the PS3 and the Xbox 360 in 2008, composed by Magnus Bergerson.
Cool stuff.
Very cool.
Very dreamy.
Yeah. So a lot of my tracks, not all of them, I don't think, but a lot of my tracks have sort of a dual motion purpose. So this one, the obvious first one is this game is all about free running. So running over buildings, parkour, all that fun stuff. So there's the obvious motion piece there, but the other piece is this is something that I might listen to when driving. Yeah. I don't think I would listen to this on like a long road trip because I feel like this is a very relaxing piece. This is something that I might listen to on my way home from work, maybe on a particularly stressful day, something like that. I really sort of enjoy the mood that is there. Like there's not a ton going on, like it's not too busy, but it just has this kind of like relaxing tone to it, which is not the tone of the game. Like you are stressed the hell out the entire time trying to, run packages and run away from bad guys and whatnot. You have any familiarity with the Mirror's Edge series?
Okay. Yeah, I did. I played the first one.
Nice.
I didn't play the second one, but I did. I played a good chunk of the first one. I never went and beat it. Actually, I would like to comment on that and say I feel the opposite.
The game was not stressful?
No. I would say it was definitely stressful. Like trying to get to the area that you need to get to and avoid like getting fired at. Like, because the whole point of the game is like no combat really.
Right.
Like for the most part, like any combat that you're doing is like making dudes fall down, stuff.
Right.
Or knocking stuff into guys to get them to fall down. Like stuff like that is kind of the combat quote unquote elements, but it is through and through a parkour game where it's more about the motion. There's almost like a rhythm to it. But the reason why I feel opposite is I would put this on for a long drive. Like this is like relaxing to me. So a song like this I would put on for a long drive because I'm going to be driving for a while. So if I was driving through like Colorado, like the mountains and that sort of thing, like I would put something like this on.
I could see this being good like atmospheric music for stuff like that. Yeah. The reason that I said that I wouldn't put something that's super relaxing like this on for a long drive is I've never fallen asleep at the wheel, but it's a constant fear of mine.
Oh, okay.
Because growing up, like you put me in a car, we get moving, within 5 minutes I'm out like a light.
Right.
So like when I started driving, I was always afraid of falling asleep at the wheel. Okay. Luckily, like I said, I've never done it.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of music that like if I get too relaxed, I can just see myself like passing out and then I'm
That totally
done.
Makes sense. I hear you on that actually. Okay. This also kind of sounds like a car commercial to me.
Oh my god, like episode 1.
Yeah. Yeah, when I did that little bit, it was like
commercial.
the Nissan Hyundai Sonata or whatever.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call. I could totally see this like as music in the background for a car commercial.
Yeah, totally.
Although I think the track that we were talking about in episode 1 was a bit more intense. Like it had that da 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 da.
Yeah.
We just sort of talked about Mirror's Edge a bit, but the whole thing, it takes place in a quasi-futuristic city where life is pretty comfortable and crime is almost non-existent, but
like a utopia.
Yeah. But, this whole state is achieved by, an oppressive authoritarian regime in control of the government.
So it's a dystopian society living in a utopian, like a pseudo-utopian society.
Yeah, I think it's a pseudo-utopian society upheld by a dystopic
military backing.
Yeah. So there's an underground crew of parkour couriers called runners, which is what you are in this game, or what you become, I think, right in the beginning, right?
What's the name of your character?
You play a runner named Faith, and you operate independently from the city security and surveillance and everything, and so you're trying to like basically make deliveries without getting caught. Like what you're doing is technically illegal, but it's for the betterment of getting out of this oppressive stuff.
It's not really spoilers, but in the first like after the first level, like somebody close to you dies or something like that.
Yeah.
And you get framed for the murder.
Of course.
So Faith has to try to, escape and try to prove her innocence.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the plot of the game.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the last, I'd say this and Dead Space were the two last like games that I played from EA.
Oh, wow.
That I like really legit loved.
Yeah.
I don't really play EA games or like AAA games, so this was a real treat.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the composer on this.
Yeah, I've never heard of this composer before.
Yeah.
Like, no jokes. I'm being serious.
No, I'm not surprising. They only have 3 credits to their name.
Okay.
They started with Mirror's Edge in 2008. They went on to do, it looks like a track called Solar Fields in Little Big Planet 3 in 2014.
Okay.
And then came back to produce the audio on Mirror's Edge Catalyst in 2016.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay. Well, it looks like we are getting a call on our caller request hotline. Let's go ahead and take that call.
Caller, you are on the air with XVGM Radio. Who is this?
I want to talk to Samson.
I don't know a Samson?
I want to talk to Samson. I'm his biggest fan.
Oh, you're Samson's biggest fan.
Samson.
Sanson with an
I want
N.
to talk to Samson with an N. It's hard when your favorite game's fighters Impact.
I would assume so. Well, I'm not really sure where to find Sanson, but we can probably play something about him for you.
Talk to Samson.
Do you know where we can find him?
Samson.
Sanson. All right.
Be cool.
Be cool. Well, Mike, I think maybe we should play the track from Fighters Impact.
That sounds exactly like what we should do, because clearly Be Cool, also known as Sanson's stage, is exactly what he wanted to hear.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So thanks, random guy. Thanks, Fighters Impact's biggest fan / Sanson.
Sanson's biggest fan?
Yeah, this came out in the arcade in 1996, and this version we're playing is off the PS1 in 1998. This track was by Yasuhisa Watanabe.
Hello?
welcome back to our VGM in Motion episode. This track that you just heard was at that random person's request, Fighter's Impact, the track called Be Cool, also known as Sanson's Stage. This track came out first on the arcade in 1996 and then on the PS1 in 1998, and it's by Yasuhisa Watanabe. What do you think of this one?
This one was really kind of funky, kind of neat.
Yeah.
So right off the bat with that guitar, when it first starts up, I got like real Mario Sunshine feels.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of gets weird after that, but not like bad weird. I like the random leave a message after the beep.
Yeah, we're not here right now. Leave a message. Right.
And I realized as I'm listening to the song, I was like, oh man, that's going to confuse any of our younger listeners. Does voicemail even have beeps anymore? And then I realized, I don't think I've left a voicemail for someone in so many years. I don't even know what the experience is like. Yeah. Are there beeps? Do people use voicemail?
Yeah, I still use voicemail.
I mean, I do too. I haven't had to record my greetings since I became whatever I am at work.
A human.
I mean,
a human person.
Job titles, but yes, a real human person. Real human people.
Yeah, real human people.
And then I just like right in the middle there, where they like the castanets and the claps come in. I thought that was really neat, and I was like, I wonder if this is why Mike picked this song.
It's just fun. I found this by accident. I think I was looking up like chill music to drive to, and I found this accidentally and was like, this was the first track I picked for the episode. And I'm glad I picked it because when you think of motion, you don't always just think of driving games. You know, you don't think necessarily of racing games, arcade racers, kart racers, or even like motion in terms of rhythm games or anything like that. But what also comes to mind for me, at least, is fighting games. And it's interesting to see this game in motion, Fighter's Impact, because it's one of those early 3D fighters.
Kind of like the early Tekken games?
Yeah, Tekken, Battle Arena, Toshinden, Virtua Fighter, Dead or Alive, like all those like really early 3D fighters. But to see Fighter's Impact, it moves unlike anything I've seen at that time. Like everything was like really kind of choppy and blocky, and movement was slow. And movement is still pretty stiff here, but it's hard to explain. It's like when you see footage of this game, it's the characters are stiff and smooth the way they utilize their attacks, the way they roll their feet and their kicks and stuff. It feels like you're watching an actual fight because they're not just doing like high kick, low kick. You know, they'll do a kick and then like kick up.
Yeah,
you know, like they'll do a kick and then like let their foot hang. Some of the characters move really smoothly as far as like their just overall vibe and look and style. Yeah. It's pretty unique looking. It's very impressive. At least I thought it was. So when it comes to VGM in motion, that's the very first thing I thought of.
That makes sense. Yeah. The video that I saw, I would agree that it was oddly smooth. And I now that you're talking about like high kick, low kick, when I think back to a lot of games that are like that, whether they're 2D fighters or 3D fighters, there's something often about like going from one move to the next that there's not like the character will flow between moves, but there's a little bit of disjointedness. Like if you were to do like a high kick, low kick, you could almost see where the animation stops and starts. And that's not really the case here. Like the moves sort of flow into each other, as opposed to, you know, this is the kick animation, this is the punch animation, this is the jump animation.
Right.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Fighter's Impact was pretty unique in that sense. There's a whole list of characters. There's some boss fights and stuff too, but there's a combo system where you can come up with your own combos. You have like certain sub-styles of fighting. You only use 3 buttons, so punch, kick, and evade. And it's pretty simple. Just you get 2 rounds to beat your opponent, and that's it. So it keeps things really simple, but at the same time, it strives to improve by kind of putting things in your own hands. Yeah. So it's neat. Pretty cool. I'll have to check this one out. I really dug this soundtrack, though. It's super funky, fresh, and hip, and I was grooving to it. It's got like a Latin vibe, this track. For sure. Very like samba-esque. So I was really, really enjoying that. But also just the little like voice clips and stuff just really make the track special. So,
agreed. Yeah, I like those.
Makes it stand out. Yasuhisa Watanabe started off doing audio for Cybalion in 1988, working under Zuntata.
Yeah. Like we talked about Savalian in the last.
Yeah, I believe we talked about him during the Zuntata episode because he did the Ninja Warriors, stuff like Sagaya, Night Striker, On the Ball in 1990, Pulirula in 1991. So pretty much staying with Zuntata for a good long while up until more current years. Latest game that they worked on was Cyveriar Delta, which came out in 2018, kind of like a resurgence of the Cyveriar franchise. Nice. And that's it. That's all I got for that track. Pretty cool stuff.
Very cool stuff.
So we're moving from physical motion to driving motion, back into a driving track.
Yeah. So this next track comes from an interesting racing game. Team Sonic Racing came out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows in 2019. And this track is Dark Arsenal Lap Music, composed by Jun Senoue, T. Lopez, Tomoya Otani, and Hidekuni Horita. that was Team Sonic Racing. The track was Dark Arsenal, lap music, and was composed by Jun Senoue, T. Lopez, Tomoya Otani, and Hidekuni Horita. And that came out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows in 2019.
Word
bird.
Have you played this one?
No, but I actually want to. I was just reading more about it and taking a look at it. And so I said before, it's an interesting kind of racing game because it's not just about being the fastest and coming first, which is weird because, Sonic, you got to go fast.
Also racing games.
Yeah, well, racing.
It's a racing game. So.
Yeah. But it's more of a co-op racing game than like a straight up like racing game. So you win by not just going really fast, but there are like you're part of a team of racers, and you gotta be efficient and do what you gotta do.
Is it like Sonic Heroes, where like you have a group of people who are all on like a specific team, like Team Sonic, which is like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and then like Team Girl, which is like Amy and Cream the Rabbit and Rouge the Bat, or
that's right,
something like that.
I was going to say Sally, but that's I think after they got rid of. I don't think they ever used Sally in the games.
No, I think the creators hate Sally.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I could be joking.
I'm
just joking.
I was like, oh, jeez.
I was totally joking. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, don't quote me. No, I don't think Sally's ever been in any of the games. I know she's been in the comics.
Yeah, and she was in
the animated show.
The Saturday morning animated. Yeah. And I think she's been in a couple other things, but either way. Yeah. I don't know, but I will eventually find out because it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
They sort of reference Splatoon and Overwatch when they're talking about the cooperative gameplay. Mm-hmm. So that has me interested because I like both of those games.
Yeah.
But if it's your team of racers versus another team of racers, that's pretty neat. I don't think I've played a racing game that's like that.
Yeah.
Closest I would say would be Mario Kart Double Dash.
I was going to say Chocobo Racing because in the relay race, you can play as up to 3 characters.
Right, but you control all 3, don't you?
You do, but the way it works is they hand the baton off.
Yeah.
Next, so you pick 3 racers, and then they could be all 3 different racers, and then each racer passes it to the next once they cross the finish line.
Oh, see, I was seeing this as more of a. Have you ever seen Talladega Nights?
Yes, but it's been a while.
Okay, I mean the closest I can come to thinking about like co-op racing would be that. Wow, I don't even remember actors' names anymore. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Yeah,
they had kind of a team thing going, and they like where they would boost each other.
Yeah.
So like multiple people on the same team racing at the same time.
Okay, huh?
So it sounds pretty interesting. I'll have to report back when I actually have a chance to sit down and play this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on all the consoles, so it's not like I have to get it on the Switch or anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should get it on the Switch.
I mean, it's gonna have better graphics on the PS4. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I mean,
probably
it will, but
yeah.
It's regardless.
Yeah.
It looks like a fun game, and I don't really have a whole lot more to say about it other than that.
Cool.
But the composers on this, 4 composers, so let's dig in here. Jun Senoue started out doing Sega Sound Team with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in 1994, and has done pretty much, I think, every Sonic game or Sonic-related game since then. There's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, not everyone, because they started on the third one, but there's a lot on here that I just keep seeing Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic 3D Blast.
They were part of Crush 40. Which is a band.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of the stuff for like Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the song The City Escape.
Yeah, that we played on the Dreamcast episode.
Yep.
They also, getting out of the Sonic world, they also did Knight's Journey of Dreams in 2007, NASCAR Arcade in 2000, so clearly they have racing composition in here, so it's good background. Daytona USA Championship Circuit Edition in 96, and let's go all the way to the top here because I got other guys to go through. Composer and voice editor on Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 in 2020. Next up we have T. Lopez. This one's a lot shorter. They started as a composer in Sonic Mania in 2017.
Yeah,
they did
the primary composer, I believe.
Yep. They did Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom in 2018, and then this game in 2019.
Yeah.
And then we have Tomoya Otani starting out way back in 1999 with Choo Choo Rocket, one of my favorite Dreamcast games.
Yes.
And then going on to do a lot of Sonic stuff from Sonic Adventure 2 in 2001 and on Sonic Generations, Sonic Colors, Sonic Lost World, all the way up to most recently, they did music this year on Phantasy Star Online 2. That just came out a little while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a Xbox One exclusive, I believe.
At
least initially. And I think it's
maybe a timed exclusive?
Yeah, I think it's coming to PC if it's not already, and then I think it's coming to everything else. But yeah, I believe it's Microsoft exclusive for the time being.
Yeah, Moby Games shows platforms being Nintendo Switch, PS4, Vita, Windows, and Xbox One.
Vita. I don't know about that.
I mean, it's...
Did it come out on the Vita? I don't know.
Isn't the Vita a dead system?
I'm pretty sure Vita's done. Yeah, I think they stopped producing physical games for it recently. Aside from, like, limited run.
Yeah, so Phantasy Star Online 2 originally came out in 2013.
Oh.
So Phantasy Star Online 2...
It's an instant clarification.
Yeah. So Phantasy Star Online 2... It just came back, I guess. I remember seeing stuff about this, so I'm not sure what happened with the original game and
maybe
now
they
getting a
revamped it with,
resurge.
like, better graphics or something, or re-released it. I don't know.
It might have been because Switch, PS4, Windows, Xbox One, those were all current. The Vita's the only old one. Yeah. It might have been an exclusive to the Vita way back when, and then died out, and now they're bringing it back.
Or it was Japan only, because I don't think it ever came out here.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Either way. And then finally, we have Hidekuni Horita, who, similarly to T, has a very short resume, starting out in 2016 with Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, Team Sonic Racing in 2019, Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 this year, and Phantasy Star Online 2 this year again.
Word. Okay, so it looks like we have the next track coming up, which is very shocking. I don't know. I had a different track, and then I picked this one, and I am kind of blown away about it, that it exists, and about who did it. We'll reveal more after the break. This is Tony Hawk Pro Skater. This came out on the Game Boy Color in 2000, and this is track 6. It's by Kiyoshi Kusatsu. Have you played Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast?
Yeah, of course. Awesome game.
How about the Game Boy Color version?
It's alright, I guess.
Well then, prepare for the ultimate Tony Hawk Pro Skating experience of a lifetime. In 2020, we're bringing back Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I know. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 are being remade. Duh.
Quench some silence, turd bag. You haven't played Tony Hawk until you've played the all-new Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the N-Gage.
Wait, what?
This version of Tony Hawk goes fully retro with its blurry visuals, static-filled images of pro skaters you know and love, and of course, a real true-to-life audio skating experience.
Where's the killer tunes, dude?
Oh, does real life have killer tunes at all times? I don't think so, Shard Bucket.
Actually, when I'm wearing my AirPods, it does.
Fake news. Don't listen to this, Huck Chucker. Get Tony Hawk Pro Skater N-Gage Edition, and later this holiday season, grab it on Tiger Electronics handhelds.
Worst idea ever. Warning, games have to be inserted one at a time utilizing a screwdriver. I wish I was making that up, but you actually have to carry a screwdriver around everywhere you go to swap games. Sold for a limited time at all below supermarkets and Family Penny's saving stores. Tiger Electronics version comes with frowns and sadness. Must not leave Utah's borders. Children over 30, get your grandma's permission before buying an N-Gage. Void where prohibited.
All right, welcome back. That was a shreddy track. That was Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which came out in the Game Boy Color in 2000. That track was track 6 by Kiyoshi Kusatsu. So when I first heard this, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of talk about Tony Hawk. I'd like to do something like snowboard or skateboard or something like that. I was like, let me pick something from Tony Hawk. And then I realized it's all licensed music.
Yes.
So then I thought to myself, well, what about the Game Boy Color versions? Because they came out and they don't have licensed music.
I didn't
unless
even
they
know
had,
that
like,
there was a Game Boy Color version of this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I knew that there was a Game Boy Color version of Tony Hawk, but I didn't know who made it and what it would be like. So I started playing this soundtrack, going through all the songs, and I was like, is this Natsume? This is the very first thing I said, and Justin was like, what? And I was like, yo, I think this is Natsume. And he's like, okay. Like, chill, bro. No, it's not. I don't think that was his response at all.
Not at all, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So, after doing some digging, I found out, yes, this is developed by Natsume. And so that's the reason why it sounds like Iku Mizutani did the soundtrack. But he didn't. I think he had a hand in developing the sound driver.
Yeah.
Because this sound driver's pretty much his stuff. But, yeah, it's done by Kiyoshi Kusatsu, who I figure we'll talk about really brief before we get into the game.
Sure.
Started off with Haokun no Fushigina Tabi in 1987. Darius Plus in 1991 did sound design on, and then did a game called Supernova in 1993. I'm going to kind of just bounce around. They did Tony Hawk Pro Skater for the Game Boy Color, as well as Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. So I guess there's a sequel that was also for the Game Boy Color. So I'll have to check that one out as well, because of it sounds like it was done by Natsume. So
yeah.
Another piece of interesting trivia, they also did the sequel to Shadow of the Ninja, or the unofficial sequel to Shadow of the Ninja, Return of the Ninja, which came out in 2001. Don't bother checking out the game. It's not very good, at least in my opinion. It's not very good. It's more stealth-based, which that doesn't really bother me, but it's just, I feel like it's just not that good of a, it's slower paced. It doesn't feel like a proper sequel to Shadow of the Ninja. But anyways, regardless, final game that they worked on was in 2010, Bang 2 Busters, I guess. There's a little 2 up at the top. Looks like
Bang
a dream.
Squared?
Bang Square Busters? Yeah, I don't know. But it came out in 2010 on the arcade, Dreamcast, Neo Geo, and Neo Geo CD. Probably an unofficial release.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Neat.
Yeah. So this game, Tony Hawk, up to 10 skaters that you could pick from. There's 3 different gameplay modes, lots of different stages that you can choose from. So it's a pretty fairly like semi-accurate version of Tony Hawk Pro Skater for Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Graphics look pretty okay. All the like profiles of the skaters look really, fairly detailed, or at least 8-bit versions of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, like, the levels don't look like the PlayStation levels, of course.
Well, right. You're not doing 3D on the Game Boy Color.
Right. So there's 2 different events that you can do. You could do half pipe and a race mode. Half pipe is viewed from like a side perspective, kind of like skate or die.
Yeah.
So you've got to do tricks to try to get a high score. And a race mode is viewed from top down, and you just got to keep doing tricks until you get to the end. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I mean, like, I love the shreddy, like that really stood out to me, because when's the last time you heard shredding like that on a Game Boy track? You know,
I'm not sure that I have, but yeah, I would agree that that's the part that stood out to me as well. And like, it sounds, there are parts of this song that sound like a song that I know, but I can't place it. Like, I feel like it's something metal or possibly something punk.
The Golden Girls theme song?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I knew it.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah. Oh, quick wit. With your finger on the trigger there.
But yeah, and I mean, the music for the games on the PlayStation, as you said, is all licensed music, and it's all pretty much like punk, ska, some metal maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've played, but I feel like that's what's in there.
Yeah.
And I
definitely... Goldfinger, Superman.
Yes.
I actually like Tony Hawk 3's soundtrack better.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I feel like one of these games, or maybe it was a different game altogether, but I feel like Rapper's Delight was in one of these games.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So anyways, that's Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I don't know if the game's actually any good. It looks kind of neat.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those, like, flash in the pan sort of like, I can't believe this exists on the Game Boy sort of things.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a better game maybe on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Game Boy Color is too limited, but I mean, the game itself is kind of limited with just those 2 modes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Might be like a soundtrack delivery system sort of thing, where it's like the soundtrack is great. And there's other tracks on the soundtrack which are also really, really good. Yeah. So check it out. So let's move into something that's a bit more familiar that we've done in the past. What do you got for us?
So this next game is going to be Omega Strike, and this came out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows in 2018. The track is Tumbleweed Desert, and this is composed by Ken Snyder, also known as Coda, who we interviewed on episode 5.
That's right.
listening to XVGM Radio.
Thank you for continuing the motion through this episode. That was Omega Strike. Came out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows in 2018. This track, which I love so dearly, is Tumbleweed Desert, composed by Coda, also known as Ken Snyder. So this one, I think, fairly obvious, but I'll say it anyway. The motion game side is, well, it may not actually be horseback, but I get a huge like riding on horseback feel from this. So that's where it kind of comes from me. The Tumbleweed Desert very much is evoking like the Wild West and cowboy themes. So I just kind of went with that. And then on top of that, this is another track that I could definitely listen to while driving. I feel like maybe in California or maybe somewhere that's like hilly.
Arizona,
yeah, very, very dry, with like, you know, ranches and horses just running around. If I can't actually listen to this well on horseback, then I'll listen to it while looking at horses for my car.
Right. Yeah, going from something where the motion is more based in present day in a way to something that has been around since forever. It's interesting to hear the different sounds because, you know, with the Tony Hawk track, you've got a more modern kind of chunky heavy metal kind of sound to it. Yeah. And then, you know, going back to this, it's much more like a Western movie or just like a very theatrical vibe. You know?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like when I listen to this track, I definitely don't think video game music. I know it's in a video game and it's good music and everything, but like I get a more Western movie soundtrack than anything.
Yeah, no, I could see this being like a spaghetti Western or something, and just like the generic music in the background that plays is like the good guys riding to, you know, fight the bad guy or save somebody or something like that. Yeah.
This game is really fun. I mean, we talked about it on episode 5 with Coda.
Yeah.
The composer. And I picked up the game after we talked to him about it, and it's a great game. I really enjoy it. So I'm really far in it. I'm probably about like 50 to 60% done with the game. And I think I've kind of hit a brick wall. It's one of those pseudo Metroidvania kind of games where like you play as these. It's like 3 different characters. One is like a machine gun guy, like a kind of guns blazing kind of 80s action hero.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like the heavy guy who can push boulders. And then the third guy is like the more tactical guy who, you know, his gun is like a 3-prong shot sort of thing, but like he can double jump.
Shot?
Yeah, it's like a spread shot or something like that. Yeah, but he could double jump. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend it. And you get new abilities like, you know, like I said, the ability to push rocks, like heavy rocks, boulders, and that opens up like new areas and stuff that you can get to in the various different maps. And the game's pretty tough. It keeps you on your toes. I've died plenty of times in this game, so it's if you're looking for a challenge, it's well worth it.
Nice. It's currently $13 on Steam, so not sure what it is in the PSN store or anywhere else, but
yeah,
it's not a bad price for a pretty hefty Metroidvania with a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, it goes on sale pretty often on the Switch. So if you're looking for it digitally, you could usually find it pretty cheap.
Nice.
You know, under $10 probably.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Ken, obviously we interviewed him on episode 5. If you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go back and listen. Yeah. There's a lot of really cool stuff on there. Ken's resume is a little bit shorter than some of the other guys that we talk about, but it is no less impactful. Started out doing music remixes on Mighty Switch Force Hyperdrive Edition in 2012. Did music and sounds in Alter Ego Dreamwalker in 2013. He's listed as Crystal Stars and Survivalist in 2015. Music in Video Ball in 2016, as well as Paint It Back in 2016. And then finally, most recently, this game, Omega Strike, in 2017.
Yeah. No, it was a real pleasure to talk to Ken. He's a really super nice guy and great composer. He's buddies with Jake Kaufman.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, his sound very much sounds like something Jake Kaufman would do in a lot of games. He's very good at mapping a style of level and genre to a song. So he does really well with that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, speaking of games,
yeah,
you got a pretty good one coming up next. What do you got?
Yeah, so we've got a game called Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. This came out on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. This track is called Power Core, and it's by Power Glove. Welcome back from that 80s retro journey. That was Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Came out on the 360 and the PlayStation 3 in 2013. That track was called Power Core, and it's by Power Glove.
Oh, man. These guys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Some of their stuff reminds me of some of Carpenter Brute's older stuff, and I mean, that makes a lot of sense because they are both synthwave bands.
Yeah.
And fun fact, they were also both featured in a documentary about synthwave called Rise of the Synths. I talked briefly about that and Carpenter Brute in a podcast that I do with Ed Wilson of the VG Embassy, Arcane Machine. We had an episode where we talked about synthwave for part of it. So, like, this is just... oh, so good. Like, huge 80s feels. I really like the bass line, not just like the da-da-da-da-da, like the droning bass line, but like all the stuff that they're doing in the bass with between the synth, the bass notes and the percussion is just so freaking 80s. I love it.
Oh, it's so good. And I love the like warped sound of it. You know, the Tony Hawk track had some really cool panning effects, which I forgot to mention. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't listen to that on headphones, go back and listen to it or jack the sound way up so you can kind of hear, you know, the different panning left and right. But here, you also kind of get a little bit of that too. And I really dig the fact that they made the track more like 80s sounding by like kind of warping the sound a little bit. Making it sound like, you know, you're watching like a VHS tape. And it's like warped. You know? Or like listening to a cassette.
Yeah, there's some really cool post-processing and like audio filters that they have that just give you these really interesting effects.
It's funny because when I was first looking up these guys to try to like figure out who Power Glove were, my mind went to the Brazilian band called Power Glove, I think. Unless I'm thinking of Mega Driver. I don't know. I can't remember. I always get those two bands mixed up. But yeah, I thought I could have sworn that Power Glove was actually a group that was like a Brazilian group, like a Brazilian metal group. But I believe that the group is actually Mega Driver. So yeah, for whatever reason, I get those two mixed up in my head. But yeah, no, I have played this one. I think I downloaded it when it was like dirt cheap. Like it went on a super sale like after the Xbox One came out. And so I saw it on sale and was like, you know what? I've heard really good things about this game. Let me go get it. And, I got to say, I thought the game was really difficult, and I didn't get very far.
This game, Far Cry 3?
Yeah. Like, I'm not too big on first-person shooters. Like, I play Doom and Quake and that type of stuff. But generally, I don't play first-person shooters for the most part. I like them. They're okay. But I'm not, like, enamored with them like the rest of the world is.
Yeah.
So when I started playing this game, I loved the atmosphere and the style and sound. The soundtrack was great, but my biggest complaint was the difficulty. I thought it was really difficult, and I'm pretty sure I played on normal to start off, and I was getting my butt handed to me. So I don't know if I got to go back and maybe put it on easy and just play through the game just to experience it, but like, I was enjoying playing in the game. I just wasn't doing well in it, so it kind of turned me off from continuing with the game.
Fair. And just to be clear, was that Far Cry 3 or Blood Dragon?
Blood Dragon.
Okay.
Like all that other stuff like Far Cry, I never got into. I never played any other Far Cry games. It's literally just because of the soundtrack and the aesthetic of the 80s that kind of... That and like the cover of the game. It didn't get a physical release, I believe.
No, but
it's just digital.
Yeah, but the quote-unquote box art.
Yeah, the box art or cover art to it is very clearly Mark Hamill. Or it looks like Mark Hamill, or it's supposed to be looking like kind of like a Mark Hamill-esque character with a laser eye, and there's cyborg ninjas in the background shooting lasers, and then there's dinosaurs shooting lasers, there's a ice lady person and a commando with a gun with a cyber eye. Like, it just looks so very 80s. So everything's pink or neon, and it just looks dope. So it's a really neat game that if you find it for a super sale, you should check it out. The game takes place in the year 2007, in the distant future. And Earth is recovering from a nuclear war. And the U.S. has been trying to do peace negotiations with the countries of the Eastern Bloc. And you play as a Mark IV Cyber Commando named Sergeant Rex Power Colt. You're sent to a remote island to investigate suspicious things that are going on there. And hijinks ensue.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
One other fun fact about the soundtrack to this game.
Yeah.
I find this amusing that the Power Glove, when they were working on the sound direction or the music direction, they were just kind of given very, very succinct instructions. They were told, okay, guys, 3 words: purple laser beams. And I gotta say, I think they hit it on the head.
That's it. That's what I think of, for sure. They also did the soundtrack to Trials of the Blood Dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise they're just doing their own thing, self-releasing EPs and albums.
Yep.
Yeah. So the reason why I picked that track, just to, before we move into the next one, is, I was thinking actual people in motion. Like not just like cars in motion or snowboards or skating or anything like that. I was thinking like, who moves? Well, we move. And in games, especially with this, you kind of remove at least your head while you're playing the game to the beat. So, because I'm sitting there listening to the track and nodding, and I'm like, yeah, this is good stuff. So, in the game, I kind of feel like your player also kind of has that movement as you're kind of slowly walking through the levels.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd also say like this is another song that I could see myself driving to. Mm-hmm. This is like this and a lot of the other really good synthwave stuff. This is a nighttime
song for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nighttime in the city.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to my next pick. This is going to be a game called Pyre, which came out on the PS4 and PC in 2017. The track is called Knights of the Sea, and it was composed by Darren Korb. Yar, welcome back. That was Knights of the Sea from Pyre, which came out on the PS4, the PC in 2017 and composed by Darren Korb. Yar.
Yar.
Yeah, so this one I really enjoyed. The obvious kind of thing here is like sea shanty. So like this is the motion of sailing or being on a boat.
Motion
on the
of
sea.
the ocean.
Yes. But yeah, so this one, it also kind of reminds me, I'm not a big fan of the Dropkick Murphys, but there's a couple of songs that I enjoy by them. I mean, Shipping Up to Boston is one, and this kind of is reminiscent of that in ways.
Yeah. No, it has that Irish vibe
Yeah,
to it.
like Irish sea shanty. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not much to say about this track other than that. I mean, it's pretty classic and pretty standard, and it fits with the vibe that it's going for.
Mm-hmm.
I've not played this game, so you'll have to fill me in on it.
Oh, okay. I own this one, and I haven't played a ton of it because it's kind of a sports game, which I'm not really big into a lot of sports games. This one is different, and I'm slowly kind of playing through it. It's just a matter of I got to be in the right mood.
Yeah.
But the setting, so it's a sports game in a high fantasy setting, which is really, really weird because, I mean, you think most sports games, you think like, you know, WWE 2016 or NHL 1994 or what, you know, whatever, like
Really?
modern. I don't know.
You're gonna go there, or NBA Jam, or Madden, or literally anything.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for like NFL, like any of the I forgot what the NFL games are called. Are they
like
still
that you
Madden?
went from WWE like 2K19 or whatever to like NHL 94, like two completely polar opposite eras and styles and sports.
But they are both sports games.
They are truly both sports games, yes.
I rest my case. So there is a story to this game, despite it being a sports game. The story itself is kind of told on screen through words and whatnot, and there's like you can click on things to get more information, to get more into the story. But so the game, like the game that you're playing is called The Rights, and you are inadvertently drawn into this world of this game. Unfortunately, I don't remember how, but you find
lizards.
Probably lizards. Lizard wizards. But you come to find out that this game, which is kind of called The Rights, RITES,
okay.
And there are a lot of other teams that are playing, and the goal is to win and get your freedom, more or less. Like, I don't think you're exactly slaves.
It's Running Man?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So the game of Rights takes place on a field with two columns of fire, or pyres, where the game gets its name, at each end. And there are teams of three. You're called exiles. So like I guess you're fighting, playing for your freedom, or not necessarily freedom, but your ability to reintegrate into society or wherever it is that you've been cast out from. But so the teams of three face off. It's kind of a top-down perspective, and each team is just trying to destroy the pyre of the opposing team by launching, like, there's this orb, and so you throw the orb, and you're trying to hit the pyre and like slowly chip away at the health bar of this thing. So you only control one character at a time, kind of like
Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo
Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. Sort of like Tecmo Super Bowl.
Okay.
You're really just in control of whoever's holding the orb at the time.
Does somebody go 3 down? Hut.
If you mod the game, I'm sure they do.
Sweet.
But so if you have the orb, you're vulnerable to the other enemy's attacks. If you aren't holding the orb, you can mess with the enemy. But like when you have this orb, your goal is to try to get to the pyre and hit it a bunch of times until it's destroyed.
This sounds like, and I say this in the most loving way possible. This sounds like nerds making sports games. And that's totally cool by me. But like, it sounds like they were like, all right, we hate sports, but we're nerds. Also, kind of like sports.
Yeah. I mean, that's very fair. That is kind of how it feels.
That's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, it's a really different take on a sports game, like 3-on-3 hoops, except you're not throwing hoops, or you're not
NBA
shooting
Jam
for hoops. Yeah, you're
Nerd Edition,
trying to blow up a thing of fire. But so the game has online multiplayer and local multiplayer and story mode. Cool. And the local multiplayer was actually mostly only included because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to include online multiplayer at launch. So they were like, hey, you can have couch multiplayer.
You can play with your friends and stuff.
Yeah. But it's an interesting game. Like I said, I need to get back to it. I need to get in the mood to play a not sports, but really sports game.
Yeah.
Darren Korb, the composer on this, I know we've talked about him before. The just 4 things on the resume: Bastion in 2011, Transistor in 2014, Amplitude in 2016, and Pyre in 2017. And all of those, except for I think Amplitude, are Amplitude is Harmonix, Supergiant Games.
Yes, Supergiant Games. Yeah.
So they are pretty cool people in my book.
Stuff.
So Janine is signaling us that we have another caller coming in on the XVGM radio hotline.
Who could it be now?
Janine, go ahead and send that on over to us.
Caller, you are on the air with XVGM Radio. What can we play for you? Does that sound like a
jackhammer?
Like a jackhammer
or a hold on.
It sounds like something hitting a house. Or tree?
Or wait, do you hear?
Is that
laughing?
Is that Woody Woodpecker? I think Woody Woodpecker's on the phone.
Yeah. Huh.
And he just hung up. Okay. Well, that kind of reminds me of another Game Boy Color soundtrack that also came out in the year 2000. This is Woody Woodpecker Racing that we could play a track from. And this track is called Beach Street, and it's from an unknown composer.
Ooh.
Welcome back to XVGM Radio's VGM in Motion episode. That was Woody Woodpecker's Racing, and that came out in the Game Boy Color in 2000. That track was called Beach Street, and it's by an unknown composer. So this game is pretty interesting. I don't know how I came across this one. I think I was just looking for something on the Game Boy Color. This is obviously before I found the other track. So this was going to be my only Game Boy Color track. Just kind of worked out that way. But this is a game that was originally developed for the PS1 by Cyrox Developments, and it was published by Konami. But that's the PS1 version. It's based on the new Woody Woodpecker show that came out like in the 90s or whatever. And the composer on the PS1 game is actually Matt Furness. So I had a lot of difficulty tracking down the composer for the Game Boy Color version. I couldn't find it at all.
Yeah.
And the only place that I found was some random website that had Matt's name attached to it. And then I found his name attached to the PS1 version too. So I was like, this doesn't sound like Matt. Like, it's got a bounce to it, but it doesn't have that Matt Furness, like, traditional bounce.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me reach out to him. So I reached out to Matt Furness and asked him, like, straight up, did you do the Game Boy Color soundtrack as well? He's like, no. He's like, I only did the PS1 version. I was like, okay, cool. So the Game Boy Color version was developed by Konami and published by Konami, believe it or not. This game got really good reviews, actually, on IGN. Like, I was reading
the Game Boy version?
Huh? The Game Boy Color version, yeah. And they were saying it's like one of the best kart racing games on the Game Boy Color. I was like, wow, okay. So I looked up some gameplay footage of it. I don't know, like graphically, it's not that impressive. I mean, most of the characters, you're really just seeing like a little race car, and then you're seeing like a head that represents the character on the car. So it's not, graphically that impressive. But musically, I don't know, this kind of reminded me less of a Game Boy Color song and more of a Master System song. It had that Master System sad minor tone vibe to it that a lot of Master System tracks have. So, I don't know. I really dug it. It's, for a beach track, like, you think, like, super happy and fun, and I guess you could kind of look at it like that in the sense that the synths themselves and the compositions, if you put them on anything else, like that wasn't like a 8-bit style system, I think it would sound more like happy sounding, more like fun, get a little bit more of a bounce to it. But with this version, this Game Boy Color version, it just seems a lot more depressing, and a lot more like hollow and shallow. But at the same time, it's got a fun vibe to it as well. It's very hard to peg down as far as the sound style.
Yeah. See, so I kind of get I definitely wouldn't call a song depressing. Like I get the minor tones that you're talking about and like the kind of sad feel to it.
Yeah.
But so the track is called Beach Street, and the closest I say that this comes to like a beach type track for me is we went to the beach, we spent the day at the beach, and now we're driving home. It's not that we're sad. Like we had a good day, but like the day is over. It's time to wrap up. Time to go home.
I get that.
Which I don't know how well that fits with a racing game. Like,
yeah, I don't know. This one to me sounded like kind of somber.
Yeah.
Kind of sounded sad and somber to me, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah. So it's 1 to 2 players, and as far as the mode selection, you can go Extreme, Grand Prix, Sprint, or Time Attack. And, there's all different car settings and things that you can adjust and change. But I would say visually where the tracks or where the game really shines is when they preview each track and they have like an intro. That looks really cool. Like graphically, it's really well done. But then when you get into the actual game itself, I mean, it's just very simplistic looking, very kid friendly. And you've got the image of your character down at the bottom of the screen, and specifically Woody Woodpecker looks really angry. He looks like he's losing his marbles, like he just drank an entire glass worth of 5-hour energy, and he's got his feet on both the brake and the gas.
So he's just peeling out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if...
But he's flying down the highway.
Yeah.
Or, down the grassy knoll. I don't know.
This is a kart racing style game?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that there's like pickups and weapons. And
yeah,
stuff
there's
like that,
arrows that you can grab. There's star blocks that will give you different weapons and power ups and stuff. So, yeah. It looks cool.
See, he looks happy there. I feel like in that other picture, he is like probably just suffered an attack of some sort.
He's just suffered.
He's just suffered.
Oh. Anyways, so yeah, no idea who the composer is on this one. It's probably somebody from Konami who worked at Konami right around this time. Maybe somebody who worked on like the Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel team. I don't know. So if you have any idea, let us know. We'll do a clarification corner in a future episode.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm going to have to pick this one up. It looks pretty fun for a kart racer. And I don't think I have any kart racing games on the Game Boy Color. So it's cheap. You can find it anywhere for like $5-10.
Nice.
Yeah. So the final track of the day, moving from one racing game that's very cartoony to another one that's very futuristic.
Yes. So this is Wipeout XL, as we got it here in America, or if you got it elsewhere, Wipeout 2097. This came out on the PS1 and Saturn in 1996, 1997, respectively. The track is called Body in Motion, and it is composed by Tim Wright, otherwise known as Cold Storage. Welcome back to XVGM Radio. That was our final track, Body in Motion, from Wipeout XL. Came out on the PS1 and the Sega Saturn in 1996 and 1997, respectively. Composed by Tim Wright, also known as Cold Storage.
How applicable that the last track is Body in Motion.
It's almost like I planned it.
It's almost like you planned it. This is good. I really like this, and it was very fun, very hip, very funky, but also very trance, techno. You know, you can really get lost on a track like this.
Oh yeah.
But while we're listening to it, I was totally vibing out to those vocal effects. And
I saw.
You kind of looked at me, and you looked at me like I had three heads, and you were like, what do you think they're saying?
Yeah, because I can't read lips, but I can definitely tell that you weren't saying what the actual words are.
I don't know what the actual words were, but it sounded like they were saying, why do you ask?
Oh, okay.
Why do you ask? Why do you ask? I just kept hearing that over and over again. I was like, did somebody ask them a question like, you know, what's your favorite crumpet or whatever? And then they were like, why do you ask? Why do you ask? Like, it was just like a sea of female robots who all got asked the same question. Like,
oh my God.
Pre-Alexa or something like that.
So the words that they're saying are just the title of the song. It's just Body in Motion. Body in Motion, Body in Motion.
Oh,
if you go back and listen to it knowing that it's Body in Motion, you'll hear it.
That may be the case, but I disagree with it.
I mean, you can't disagree with facts or reality.
Nope, I'm disagreeing with fact on this one. It's clearly why do you ask? I will also take whiny gas. Whiny gas. Whiny gas. Whiny gas. I will also take whiny gas.
I'm sure you will take whiny gas.
For 300, Alex. Yeah, so I've never played this game. I've never played a single Wipeout game.
You never played any of the Wipeout games?
I've never played a Wipeout game.
So our mutual friend Eric.
He's not listening, but if he was listening, he would be like rolling in his grave. And no, he's not dead either.
What? Oh, because
I just talked to him via text today.
I was just gonna say
he's not dead, but if he were dead, he'd be rolling in his grave.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. So the music from these games, pretty much all the games in the Wipeout series are done by Cold Storage. I don't think there are any that aren't, but Eric would know.
Yeah.
If we had Eric down here, he could do an entire episode on Wipeout.
Yeah, like by himself. Posing as us.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, but these games, they are racing games. They're futuristic racing games. To me, it's like a weird mix between Star Wars Pod Racer, F-Zero, and what are those, like the boat racing games?
Oh, like Hydro Thunder?
Yeah, Hydro Thunder. Okay. And I say that because these things control like boats.
Okay.
And some people may go, oh, that's not that bad. And some people may go, yeah, I mean, it's neither good nor bad. Well, it's neither good nor bad. Like I've played whichever one is on like the PS3 or one of the ones that's on the PS3. Okay. I grabbed, and they're fun. But like, when it comes to racing games, like I really need you to just stick to kart racers because like I got okay at this game. I probably, if I went back now, I haven't played it in so long, it probably would not go well. But just getting used to how these things control, because they're not cars, they're not attached to the road, they float above it. And I feel like the Star Wars Pod Racer game had tighter controls. Like you felt you had more control over the pod than you have over these things. And it's just like to turn a corner, you need like 5 minutes to prepare to turn that corner. But that's just my experience.
Right.
I don't want to bash these games too much because like they are fun and the music is fantastic.
Yeah,
and
I'm with you though. Like, there's very few games that I could say like, yeah, I like when racing games have like natural or realistic looking like physics. Very rarely. I don't know. I prefer racing games that feel like arcade racers.
Yeah.
You know, anything that, which maybe this is considered an arcade racer, I don't know, but anything where there's like physics involved, I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. Just give me a kart racer.
Yeah. And I mean, I've played the at least one of the Hydro Thunder games, and those are pretty cool too. But like, you're in a boat and you're in the water, and your brain can make the connection. And then here, I'm just like, it's. I can't even compare it to F-Zero that much because I don't remember how F-Zero plays. I feel like it might have been a little bit floaty, but I just remember having a ton of frustration when I first started trying to play this game because I'm like, my brain doesn't work in this kind of space, and it's all so fast because like these things are basically spaceships.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, really, really neat. If you are into anything that I just mentioned, give it a try. There's a lot of them. But Tim Wright, also known as Cold Storage, started out doing music composition for a game called Shadow of the Beast 2 in 1990, and then did a whole bunch of stuff that I really enjoyed. Lemmings in 1991, Holiday Lemmings in 1993, Combat Air Patrol in 93, Pugsy in 94, Mickey Mania in 94, and then the first Wipeout game is in 1995.
Did you say Pugsy? I could have sworn that Matt Furness did that. Maybe they worked on it together?
Possibly. It looks like...
Or maybe he did the conversion to the Sega CD version?
I was just going to say, it looks like he did the Sega CD, possibly Amiga and Genesis.
Okay.
Well, no, I think he just did the Sega CD version.
Okay.
So there's that. We got Wipeout XL in 96, Thunder Truck Rally in 97. They did additional music. Wipeout 64 in 98. Pocket Music in 2002. They did the title track. And most recently, they did Gravity Crash Portable in 2010. They are credited as audio on that.
Okay.
They have a ton of video game music. They have a ton of just their own stuff that they've done as Cold Storage. A lot of it is more like trancey type stuff or atmospheric. But just, if you like trance, techno, and stuff like that, they are really interesting. They're doing a lot of really cool things that I don't think you hear very many other places.
Nice. So that brings us to the end of our VGM in Motion episode. I know we didn't talk too much about like actual like motion in games. We did here and there. But
yeah, I think we got enough motion.
I think we covered it.
We don't want to give anybody motion sickness.
Right. That's true. But so what about favorite picks of the episode? Pick your favorite
So this
song.
one's a little bit too easy, and I definitely feel like I have to struggle for second place, because first place 100% going to that Power Core track.
Yeah.
From Blood Dragon.
More core, power core.
More core, power core, parkour. Right. Speaking of parkour, Mirror's Edge is kind of up there for me. The Fighter's Impact track was really cool.
Yeah.
The Tony Hawk Pro Skater came out of nowhere. I enjoyed that way more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I think for second place, I'm going to have to go with TMNT Turtles in Time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill, because there's a couple tracks that I picked personally that I really, really liked. I feel like it'd be wrong for me to pick that Tony Hawk track just because I picked it so last minute.
But I mean, it came out of nowhere.
It did.
As far as like surprising tracks, that's like my top surprising track of this episode.
I feel like it was a bit repetitive as well, which is not a bad thing, but you know, I did also really love grooving out to that Far Cry track as well. But I think I'm gonna go with, oddly enough, the Woody Woodpecker track. It kind of invoked some sort of emotion in me, and I don't know how to explain it. I think I tried to do that in this episode and failed miserably, because now people just think that I'm like some whiny
emo kid
who's just like,
such a sad song.
It's a little Game Boy track. It's so makes me sad in pants. I don't know. So I don't really know what else to say about it. It really kind of gripped me, and I don't know why. But yeah, Woody Woodpecker.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What about you, the listener? What did you like?
Yeah, let us know.
So, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons, without whom this show's continued improvement would be impossible. They are Alex Messenger, Cam Worma, Chris Hart, Dan Lawton, Jordan and Anson Davis, Jason Super Jess Doss, Kung Fu Carlito of the Heroes 3 podcast, Scott McElhone, Chris Myers, Peter Panda, The Autistic Gamer 89, Bedroth, Brad Austin, Chris Murray, Jeremy Rutz, Llama Adam, Marcus Stewart, Matthew Hanola, Mixmaster, Muddle Madness, Nick Davis, and Ryan McPherson.
If you would like to become a patron, you can sign up at patreon.com/XVGM Radio. There you can see the different tiers as well. Just $1 gets you a thank you and access to our monthly live shows.
You can visit our website, xvgmradio.com, where you can listen to all the episodes and learn more about your hosts, as well as any of our guests or composers that we've had on the show.
If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
If you like what you've heard, please consider giving us a review on iTunes.
You can join our Facebook group and chat with other VGM lovers at www.facebook.com/groups/XVGM Radio, where we talk about everything from current game news to sharing awesome VGM tracks or just talking about the podcast itself.
You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle on both those sites is at XVGM Radio.
If you don't have any other social media or just want to try something unique, check us out on our Discord group chat. Links in the show notes. All right, so this episode is our only episode in September.
Yeah.
So we did a bunch of episodes in August. We did the normal amount that we usually do. And we took a little bit of a break to kind of free up some time for Justin and I to kind of, work on other projects and work on other things, catch up with life stuff. And this episode is kind of the end result of that, taking the time necessary to be able to do that sort of stuff. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for October. We'll be back on track with 2 episodes per month, starting with episode 60, which is
in almost a month. So this is coming out on the 16th of September. Episode 60 will be the 14th of September, and I think this is the 3rd time that we're going to be doing this, so people should know the routine by now. Every 20 episodes, it's a free pick.
Free picks. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So we will be picking a bunch of random stuff that we've encountered fairly recently, or maybe tracks that we've been holding on to that didn't really fit a form or a theme. So that's going to be exciting, and so we look forward to seeing you then.
Yes.
When we release it. So this is Mike.
And Justin.
Signing off for XVGM Radio. So there's 2 different events that you can do. A half pipe. Half pipe. A half pipe, ladies and gents.
Hey, so that was Nope. That was Team Sonic Racing. Works like a charm every time.
Good job.
All right.
It looks cool.
See, he looks happy there. I feel like in that other picture, he is probably just suffered an attack of some sort.
He's just suffered.
He's just suffered.
He's just
for
suffered.
Years.
Look into his eyes. He suffered.
Oh, Lord.
I need a therapist. Anyways.